From Ogun business to business in general, let's join Joker Rogers now, who has more.
Thank you so much, Amachi. We'll start on the national level, though. Nigeria has been listed among West African nations that will attain a GDP growth of 6.9% this year. This prediction was made by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the ECA. In its annual World Economic Outlook released in the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa, the ECA listed Nigeria, Niger, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Burkina Faso among economies that would witness strong growth. The report projected that Africa's GDP would also grow by 4.7% in 2014, and it said there would be a growth of 5% in 2015. According to the report, high commodity prices and easing infrastructure constraints, as well as increasing trade and investments from emerging economies, would help in this direction. Nevertheless, it expressed concern that the economic growth recorded in the continent has not impacted positively on the populace. The Lagos State government's 2014 budget will focus primarily on the completion of ongoing infrastructure works. Commissioner for Budget and Planning, Mr. Ben Akabweze, says this is to ensure that all projects that are still in progress are delivered as promised, and if need be, new ones will be taken on. The projects will be funded from the state's 255 billion naira capital expenditure. The Nigeria Customs Service says the Destination Inspection Scheme, which it took over from contracted scanning service providers, SSPS, has yielded some positive results. According to the NCS Public Relations Officer, in spite of the challenges it faced in 2013, there's been a remarkable improvement in its operations, which is evident in the increased revenue.
Globally, communication is said to be a vital tool for the promotion of ideas, businesses, information, and social integration. It is in this light that officers of the Nigeria Customs Service hope to leverage on as they plan to increase the nation's non-oil revenue through trade facilitation.
The PAN, though in its infancy, has also been able to assemble all relevant stakeholders in the trade chain to interact with one another without physical touch. These measures engender quick and effective clearance process, facilitates trade, and ensures transparency.
To assist officers of the Nigeria Customs Service achieve its mandate of revenue generation both within and outside the shores of the country, security agencies and other government parastatals at the borders promise to improve surveillance for effective monitoring.
We've had a very perfect relationship with the Nigerian Customs Service spanning several decades. We are cyber street. There is nowhere the customs is that the immigration is not there. And we have had no single incident of misunderstanding among each other. As a matter of fact, we are in the process of starting a joint border patrol operation with the Nigerian Customs Service.
Our great partner, without the customs, without their cooperation, there is no way we would have achieved the kind of achievement that we have been able to record at NAFDAC. Customs has helped us and made actually our job much easier. First and foremost, they introduced a system that allows us to access information pre-arrival analysis of NAFDAC regulated products, and they give us the assurance that unless we clear any particular container, they will not allow it, and they have stopped that. They have consistently helped us.
While the nation's overdependence on oil revenues has for some time been a setback to the development of other sectors of the economy, it is expected that the Nigeria Customs Service will march words with actions in its mandate to promote the development of the country's economy.
Well, Bisi Koko joins us now with the closing figures from the Nigerian stock market.
Welcome to the stock market's reports. Tuesday's trade at the Nigerian Stock Exchange saw the bears upstate the bulls once again as the key benchmark index stepped by 1.11% to 41,189.66, with a market capitalization of 13.20 trillion naira. Water Oil is the day's top loser, shedding 2 naira 7 kobo from its share price to lead Nigeria Breweries and Okomo Oil. Now Presco improved its share price with a 1 naira 40 kobo gain. Costain is also on the gainer's log, adding 18 kobo to its share price. On the volume chart, FCMB led with 62.68 million units. When the closing bell rang, volume stood at 408.13 million units, worth 4.97 billion naira, and exchanged by investors in 6,350 deals. And that ends the stock market reports. I am BC Koga.
Thank you, BC. That's it on Business News on the News at 10. Amarachi returns shortly.
Welcome back. It's time for sports news now. Here's Ayotunde Balogun.
Thank you very much, Amarachi. Well, Nigeria's Super Eagles and the Black Stars of Ghana will revive their rivalry tomorrow, Wednesday, in the semi-final of the 2014 African Nations Championship. Though this showdown will be without high-profile foreign-based players, the encounter will be a keenly contested one. The home-based Super Eagles, who have scored 12 goals so far and conceded 8, are slightly on top of their opponents, who have been far from impressive. Nigeria have not beaten Ghana since 2006, when they nicked a 1-0 win in the group stage of the Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. Enyimba of Aba have been crowned champions of the 2013-2014 Global Premier League pre-season tournament. The former African champions defeated league champions Kano Pillars by a 1-0 to finish top of the standing with 3 wins out of 3 games. Striker CB Gua scored the winning goal in the 75th minute to hand the Aba Elephants the title. Enyimba will earn 1.5 million naira as winners, aside the 1 million naira received as appearance fee.
Who seems to say, well, what else could I have done? Enyimba not leaving anything to chance at all. And, well, that's how to do it.
Enyimba could almost have scored that goal 4 times. Such was the dominant. We knew this was coming, but again, just it's very few teams that can cause this sort of problems for Kano Pillars at the back. They just couldn't get that ball away. But how about that lob to set it on?
Meanwhile, Warri Wolves needed an organic Karo Tebel's goal from the penalty spot to edge out Bayelsa United by 2-1. Ibitimi Agogo put in front Bayelsa United in the 23rd minute, but Freedom Omofama equalized for Warri Wolves a few minutes later. Etebo then struck the winner 7 minutes after the restart from the spot, after he was brought down in the penalty box by a Bayelsa United defender. Warri Wolves ended the pre-season tournament as runners-up after securing 2 wins out of 3 matches.
Emphatic, low and hard. That was very quick, really. The ball set up for him nicely, and he played the ball just on the top. That took a little bubble just in front of Kazim Yakin. Well, I think I will have to blame Yakin here because he's been beaten at his near post. But you can see he could have done much better, Kazim Yakin. He would love to have a second bite at saving that.
Well, Kevin Durant continued his hot scoring streak with 41 points to lead the Oklahoma City Thunders to a 101-109 points victory over the Atlanta Hawks. Now the star forward hit the game-winning jumper with 1.5 seconds left as Oklahoma came back from 14 points down in the second half. Paul Millsap responded with 23 points and 8 rebounds for Atlanta, but that couldn't prevent OKC improving to 36-10 for the season.
Millsap spinning on Durant, going strong to the hole and throwing that one down. He had 11 points at the break. We take you into the second half, in fact the fourth quarter now. Paul Millsap pokes it away from Serge Ibaka. Look at the slick move from Sheldon Mack. But there's Serge Ibaka getting back and rejecting the shot on the other end. Kevin Durant, an amazing hoop and harm there. 99-96. Atlanta still in front after the free throw on the road. They're up by 2 with 2:15 to go, and Kevin Durant somehow just goes right through the...
And Lewis Hamilton has suffered a case of deja vu after enduring a heavy crash midway through the first day of the 2014 Formula One winter testing. The 2008 world champion brought proceedings during day one at Jerez to a shuddering halt when he hit the barriers at turn 1 of the circuit in southern Spain. According to Mercedes, the newly unveiled W05, which had completed 18 laps up until that point, suffered a front wing failure just prior to the accident. Hamilton was able to climb out of his broken car unassisted following the crash, which occurred at 1 p.m. local time. Well, that's it in sports news. The news at 10 continues shortly.
Unveiling the new look of Guinness. Discover a colorful world of more.
Well, staying on the foreign scene, but away from sports news, Ukraine's President Viktor Yanukovych has accepted the resignation of the Prime Minister and his cabinet amid continuing anti-government protests. Mykola Azarov had offered to step down as Prime Minister to create social and political compromise. Cynthia Are has more.
This move came after the Ukrainian parliament voted overwhelmingly to cancel a controversial anti-protest law. The protests have spread in recent days across Ukraine, even to President Yanukovych's stronghold in the east. Official buildings in several cities have been occupied. In total, at least 5 people have been killed in violence linked to the protests. Then, Syrian peace talks have resumed in Geneva after the warring sides hit an impasse over the formation of a transitional administration. Government and opposition delegates are holding a joint session with UN envoy Lakhdar Brahimi in the morning and will later hold separate talks with him. Also today, Thailand's government has announced parliamentary elections on Sunday will go ahead despite threats of protests and an opposition boycott. It follows talks between Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra and election officials seeking to delay the vote. Plus, as the battle to restore peace in Egypt continues, the ousted Islamist President Mohamed Morsi has struck a rebellious tone at the beginning of his trial over his escape from prison back in 2011. Mr. Morsi started shouting, "I'm the President of the Republic. How can I be kept in a dump for weeks?" Well, that's it from me. Those are the top stories on the foreign scene.
And the main news again. President Goodluck Jonathan has condemned the latest terror attacks in Borno and Adamawa and raised the bar on the war against terror. On a visit to Adamawa, the president promised that the tempo on the fight against terror will be intensified with the appointment of new service chiefs. The United States ambassador to Nigeria has dismissed claims that Nigeria will disintegrate in 2015. An alleged 419 kingpin, Fred Ajudua, is to be rearraigned on fraud charges totaling about $1.69 million here in Lagos. And Ukraine's President Viktor Yanukovych has accepted the resignation of the Prime Minister and his government. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Good night.